Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where as I promised we would be working on our rescue craft. We had not quite enough DV to do what I wanted on our previous flight, but we will go ahead and... Ooh, I just thought of something. We can't EVA our tourist. Huh. We have no docking ports on that. We may have to abandon the tourist just because of the game mechanics. Or maybe just pretend that we brought the tourist and then complete it. Like, I can EVA them as long as we rendezvous, right? But I decided to go with 4 side boosters here rather than the 3 that I was talking about. I do believe that this is overkill, to be clear. I absolutely believe that this is overkill on the first stage. But I went for this because we had 4 tail fins, and I wanted to fit into the tail fins relatively nicely. I do want to run a quick simulated version of this. I want to make sure that our detachment is good. Specifically, as we go through the atmosphere, I want to make sure that the detachment of the 4 do not take anything with them. So let's go ahead and get out of here for now. This is a test flight, of course. That's why we have these guys with us. Flight engineer, you can, like, chill here for now. Excellent. Okay. So let's take a quick look at how our maneuverability is. It should be good. We should have good maneuverability here. Oh, yeah. This is pretty good in terms of maneuverability. I like it. This is expected, of course. I am also noticing that Kerbal Space Program is having some issues. Hello, I didn't close Unity. Let me get that done. Hold on, application.quit indeed. There we go. Unity is closed. KSP should no longer be having any issues with the recording. I apologize for that. So for right now, we'll just hop over into orbital mode, and we'll just park here. We're mostly interested in seeing what happens when we run out the fuel. So that's going to be in another 30 seconds or so. Also, I'm noticing this is quite a lot louder, so I'm going to go ahead and turn the spacecraft noise down a little bit in the mix. Should be better. Maybe that's a little high still. We'll go to around 25. Yeah, that's better. Okay. That should be pretty good. Our apoapsis height is going pretty well. Oh, I did throw a KER on here, by the way. That is right there. Excellent. And we'll just go ahead and hop over to prograde for right now as a bit of a stress test. It's not super stressful. This is a very, very good sign, though. Yeah, this is no longer a super underpowered first stage. Good detach. Very good detach. I like it. You can see here, we're already going pretty well. Okay, so let's call that good. We're going to head back to the vehicle assembly. I'm pretty content with this. That means that this should be sufficient with this first stage to get us into orbit, I believe. And then this stage, we can do all of our maneuvering that we need to with. Now, of course, we do need to remove Bill from here. We are going to bring Gilly, but we're not bringing Gil. Gilly, when did you get XP, Gilly? Did you start with XP? I'm not sure when Gilly got XP. Okay. So we'll call that good. I just want to double check everything here. We have solar panels. We don't really have much for power storage. We shouldn't need it. Ah! Why do we have an experiment storage unit on this? We have no experiments. Let's get rid of that, and let's move the drogue chutes. No experiment storage unit, thank you very much. A main chute here, and then we can put the drogue chutes, like, all the way down here. It's probably completely fine to put them, like, here. Yeah, that should be okay. That'll save us a little bit of weight, and that also completely messed up our staging, but that's fine. I just want to once over this one more time. Anything else, strictly speaking, unnecessary? I mean, there's the aerodynamic nose cones, but I just like to have them. There is also the fact that I was noticing some bending at this joint here, and we should probably attempt to secure this instead up here. There we go. I mean, it doesn't look the best, but it'll be stable. And ultimately, isn't that what matters? I want to check down here. Yeah, we do have that strutted in. That is perfect. We had a great detach event, so I am reasonably pleased with this. So I think what we're going to do, the game won't let us EVA a tourist, probably for this exact reason, but I personally believe that that is dumb. And tourists should be able to EVA. So what we're going to do is we're probably going to leave the tourist there, technically speaking, but we'll move the tourist over during the rendezvous portion, and then we'll just force complete it through the cheat menu, because I think it's silly that you can't do a rescue of a tourist. Especially considering when there are rescue missions in the game, those aren't for tourists, technically, but you can EVA those. At any rate, we do need to do our staging here. So yeah, that looks good. This is awful. We're not going to stage like that. That looks good. And then we're going to need to have our drogue chutes and our main be separate. I believe we want this to be here, though. Yes, let's double check that. So our first stage engines fire, and then our side tanks detach, and then our main core detaches and our maneuvering stage fires, and then our maneuvering stage detaches, our drogue chute, our main chute, and then this. I kind of wish we could just make it not appear on the staging at all. That would be nice, but I don't know of a way to do that. If there is a way, please let me know, but I don't know of a way to do that. So anyway, we're going to launch this. Excellent. This launch is not a simulated launch, and we should have absolutely no problem. Our first stage has plenty of power at this point. It's a little bit on the expensive side, but it's really not too bad at 30K. So let's get that up here, and off we go. We could grab an EVA report, but that would be dumb, so we're not going to do that. We're just going to make our way up at approximately 100 meters per second. We will begin our turn as usual. Something along the lines of now. Excellent. We'll hop over into orbital mode. And over we go. I do want to pop this open so that we can see exactly how long we have left in this burn, and the answer is a long time. So that's great. That is absolutely great. I'm just trying to push up our apoapsis right now to get us a fair amount of vertical speed. Our horizontal speed we don't care about quite as much just now. We've pushed through the thickest portion of the atmosphere currently. I'm going to go ahead and move us over a little bit. I don't want to be getting too much horizontal speed just yet, since our apoapsis is still well within the atmosphere. So we'll just chill right about here. We are getting a lot of speed, you can see. We may want to throttle down at some point. I feel like our first stage is a little overpowered right now. It's not necessarily a bad thing for your first stage to be overpowered, of course. We're going to go for the prograde marker at this point. We are well and truly in space, and in fact, I'm just going to cut it here. And we are going to go ahead and do a maneuver here. Something along the lines of... I mean, that technically works. Just going to adjust our timing on that burn a little bit. There, that's good. That is good. We can't point at the maneuver node just yet, but that's in T-minus 1 minute 30 seconds, so we should definitely be burning that right now. Let's get to that maneuver node. A little bit more over. Come on, Valentina. Oh, Valentina's fighting me, of course. We'll ditch all of those, and we'll sit at this maneuver node. Excellent. So what is our final apoapsis looking like here? 87? Yeah, this is fine. This is not really a concern. We've got 67 seconds left to burn here, so this should be, in theory, completely fine. In reality, I probably shouldn't have stopped our burn on the way up to put in the maneuver node, but it's fine. I just wanted to be sure. We're going to hit the apoapsis in... Actually, no, this is fine timing. This is completely fine timing. It's going to be pushing out again momentarily. Okay. Yeah, it's pushing out once more. Our apoapsis height is getting up there. There's no doubt about that. I'm going to go ahead and stop this burn again. And we are going to ditch this maneuver node, and I'm going to try this again. We'll just push that out to somewhere around here should be good. Node in T-minus 56 seconds. We need to burn this at T-minus 21. This is a more accurate node here. So that's fine. We'll burn this at T-minus 21. Just warping towards that. 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, and 21. There we go. And we're a little bit off of the prograde node here. I'm actually going to lock to the prograde node. That just indicates that our timing is a little wrong, I think. So let's burn off this stage. And we are going to need a little bit from our maneuvering stage here, but that's okay. I'm not concerned about this amount that we're going to need. Excellent. And this is because we aimed a little bit high and we're a little bit inefficient, but that's okay. Periapsis is coming up. We are in orbital mode, but we're not in orbit yet. We're in orbit now. I'm not going to burn the extra 14.8, and instead we will head on over to the moon. So we need a moon encounter, and we'll do something like this. That'll be around 850 meters per second. We'll need to change the timing, of course, to be over here or so. And this is coming in... Let's see, we're going this way, so it's coming in prograde. That's fine. This is a little bit unnecessary on the periapsis, though. We'll bring that out to around here. That should be fine. We'll be able to encapsulate this orbit relatively easily, and then we'll be able to find ourselves a nice encounter. Okay, so we're going to still have about 1,000 meters per second there to work with. That's fine. This node is... Nope, you can stop that, Valentina. This node is, of course, in 22 minutes and 45 seconds, so we will go ahead and warp to next maneuver. We'll need to come in over here to warp to next maneuver. There we go. This is, of course, going to be pretty much just a prograde burn. In fact, it's going to be exactly just a prograde burn. Okay, so 1 minute 43 seconds means 30 seconds plus 21.5 seconds. So that means that we want to burn this at 51.5 seconds. Sounds good to me. Okay, 51.5 seconds. Let's warp towards that. Okay, so right about now. And off we go. We should, I think, have enough DV to do this. The DV to match velocities might be interesting. And then to get home after that. It might be interesting to be sure. It would be a little bit cheaper, but probably more time-consuming if I hadn't have made the retrograde mistake. But that is, of course, entirely my own fault. This is definitely feeling like a lot of DV to get there, but I'm pretty sure we can make this work. We're going prograde, so it shouldn't require that much DV to match velocities. We'll just have to do a get closer burn, match velocity burn, and then we'll transfer over. and then we'll head home. That should be plenty. In theory. In theory. A little bit off the node there. Let's position again. There we go. And we just want to keep an eye on our apoapsis here, and we want to save as much DV as possible here. I'm going to take it a little closer, though. I don't want to get hit by that floating point issue that we had last time. That would definitely be a problem. So we'll just raise our apoapsis on up. And we'll get this encounter. I could have played around with this encounter to probably make it slightly more efficient, but that would require work. I'm going to take this in just a little bit more. Just lock prograde, and boom, that'll do. We should not have a floating point error here. Inclination-wise, we look to be about correct. That should, in theory, be good enough. So a retrograde burn here. Actually, I kind of would prefer a retrograde burn here. Of something like this. Although, I want to make it as minimal as possible, so 180 meters per second for this. That's not bad. We'll go ahead and lock retrograde. It's going to change by the time we get there, of course, but that's fine. And let's go ahead and warp to this maneuver. Goodbye, Kerbin. Hello, Moon. Excellent. So it'll be a couple hours until we get there, of course. And we will change into this zone of control here. This is going to be, or rather, zone of influence. This is going to be 19 seconds that this burn is, so we want to burn this at T minus 9.5 seconds. So we'll go ahead and warp forward towards that. So right now. Excellent. So this will be our biggest burn, I think, here. We will have to try to find ourselves an encounter. And we basically want to stop this burn as soon as we have an orbit. That'll do. We'll save the extra 0.9 meters per second. Okay, so here we are. Now the question is, if we were to do a get closer burn, first off, we want to set this as our target. We want to see how close we get with these intersects. So intersect 1, we could be quite a ways away. There's no doubt about that. Although, we could burn more DV to get in closer. Or we could just wait, right? That's something we can do too, is wait for our orbits to get in the correct phase. So if we were to do something like this, we can see we're quite a ways out right now. If we had launched at a different time, it would have certainly been slightly better. But if we were to go like here and do like some sort of wacky DV change, like we could catch up to this thing super easily if we were ready to burn the DV. But I'm not. So what I'll do instead is I'll add a maneuver here, and then we will add in an orbit like that. And then we'll see what happens if we do this after a full orbit. That appears to get us worse over here. What about over here? Yeah, we appear to be moving away right now. It'll just take some time to find the correct timing to do this. Okay, this is not obviously what I want to do. I'm going to add a maneuver here. We're going to try after 2 orbits. Okay, we'll retrograde that on down. And we'll see what our timing ends up looking like. Our timing is pretty garbage. And this is one of the benefits of coming into this retrograde, right? The benefit there is that we can control when we have the actual intersect. The unfortunate thing is that it costs a lot of DV. Now, I don't necessarily mind that. Ooh, this is looking good. I don't necessarily mind the DV cost when we have the DV to spare, but look at that. Yes, that's going to be in 11 days. That's going to be a thing. We can fine-tune this a little bit to see if we can get this a little bit closer. 2.9, 3.0. Okay, 2.9 is about the closest we get here. 2.5 I saw. 2.6, 2.3, 2.2. Okay, this is about the best we're going to get. That's fine. We can do a get closer burn. No worries there. That'll take very little DV. We're completely okay. And now we're going to leave these guys here. We're not going to revert this. We're just going to go back to the Space Center. The reason we're leaving them there is because that's going to be 11 days. In that time, we can send up a communication satellite. So we might as well. We're going to go ahead and load this and... Rendezvous 2 vessels in orbit of Kerbal. It's something we're going to do. We're going to grab it. We're not going to get this done right now, unfortunately. We are rendezvousing 2 vessels, but it's going to be in orbit of the moon. So that's going to be a thing. A new satellite in polar orbit of Kerbal. I think we'll hold off on that one. And this one is just in orbit around the moon. And so is this one. We could actually do both of these very, very simply. This one is a suborbital spaceflight and in orbit. That's a very simple one as well. I'm going to accept that one too. And that is, of course, our stack of contracts. Fantastic. So let's hop into the VAB and grab ourselves our communication satellite rocket. That is the Majapahit Mark 1. Excellent. This is very dated. Okay. This is extremely dated. Wait, this is the Majapahit. This is a tourism rocket. Hang on, that's not what we're looking for at all. We're looking for the France Comsat. That's a little bit more like it. I'm going to go ahead and take off these thumpers. And we are instead going to attach in, let's see here, this is just 2 T800s. Fine. I'm going to attach in a pair of T800s out here as well. And we want these to be mounted on the top. So we're going to move this up to here. We're not going to do quad symmetry. That is so much overkill. That is not even funny. No windows. I do not want to update right now. Thank you very much. Okay, that is not actually on that decoupler. We'll place that. That'll do for now. We'll adjust that positioning in a moment. And we'll put in a pair of swivels here. I don't want quad swivels. I do not want quad swivels. Thank you very much. Can we maybe get a single swivel here? Okay. It's not wanting to do that. There we go. And I guess we'll put one in manually over here. Have to get the visual right. There. No. Not there. Okay, I'm going to remove these fins temporarily. And I'm going to take this off of here. There we go. That works so much better. Quad symmetry, and boom. Okay, we'll adjust the positioning of these guys. We will go ahead and do the move tool and just move them right on down to be... there is good enough. We'll give them aerodynamics in their nose cone. Excellent. And we'll attach this up here with struts. The question is, do we call this the Calichuris Mark II, or rather the France Comsat Mark II? The answer is probably yes. This is, at this point, I would call this a Mark II. This is a sizable upgrade. This is going to be overkill on the DV, but we're probably going to use this lifter model for quite a number of projects, so I think it's fine. There we go. We'll do that. This should be more than enough to get this communication satellite in orbit, especially considering we have this extra stage up here. Okay, let's check our DVs, or rather our thrust-to-weight ratios. That looks good. And, yep, those guys, then that, yep, the fairing, and then that. Sure. That'll be all just fine. Not going to bother with a simulated flight on this. We are just going to get this straight up to the moon. We'll get this into its designated orbit, and then we'll come back to our rescue mission. Okay, and up we Go. Fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and do a roll here. Roll to the azimuth. Excellent. And I would like to hold attitude a bit. We're going a little bit slowly for beginning a turn here. That's fine. We're also looking a bit inclined. Just pull that on over. We do not have any sort of a KER on here, so that's fine. I'm not too concerned about that. We'll just look at the apoapsis the old-fashioned way. It's currently 5 kilometers. We want to bring that up a bit. I would like to get some speed rolling here. And we've got another 25 seconds left in our side boosters, so that is perfectly fine. Not concerned about that at all. Moving maybe a bit on the slow side for detaching our side boosters, but it should be more than fine. Just going to adjust our inclination a little bit here. And we'll go ahead and ditch our side boosters. That nice detach. Fantastic. And how are we doing on our apoapsis? It's still a bit on the low side, but that is fine. I'm going to hop into orbital mode here, and we're going to slowly make our way over towards the prograde marker. I was a little faster than I was intending to move towards the prograde marker, but it'll have to do. We can't lock to prograde on this, of course, so that's just fine. We'll just have to do it manually. But no real worries on that front. Okay, our apoapsis is plenty high, so we absolutely sit prograde for now. We may want to start a coast phase soon. And I think once we hit 80 kilometers, we'll start a coast phase. We're at 80 now. I'm going to hold it a little longer. We can go ahead and deploy our fairing. So we shall. And we're just going to head on over to here. Now we'll enter our coast phase. 95? Sure. Go ahead and do a maneuver for getting us into orbit. And that'll be absolutely fine. We should definitely continue burning and make our way over to this orbit. Okay. Just checking to see how our apoapsis time is looking. Yep, we definitely need to continue the burn. There's no doubt about that one. 1 minute, 23 seconds. Actually, technically, this is burn time 1 minute and 40, so we should wait until we are at T-minus 50 seconds. This is a little early on the burn. Not used to that one. So T-minus, technically 49 and a half is right now when we need to do it. So right now. Okay. 49 and a half. This is going to take some of our maneuvering stage to burn, but that's fine. We don't care. Look at all this DV. We have ridiculous amounts. I'm going to go ahead and extend our antenna. There we go. And we will ditch our booster stage now. Excellent. We'll just get this into orbit, and all will be good. Wait, do we need to have a mystery goo on this? I'm dumb. We had to have a mystery goo on this. Okay, for the sake of time, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to revert that back. Now, we didn't actually revert that, right? Because we need to, A, put a mystery goo on this, but I'm going to go ahead and deduct, if we open up the cheat menu here, I'm going to deduct the cost of that. Essentially, I crashed it back into the Earth. It burned up in the atmosphere. So we're going to deduct 20K here. Or actually, 19K. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And that was entirely because I forgot to put a mystery goo on this. It's not because the rocket didn't perform. It's just because I didn't double check that. So we're going to put a mystery goo containment unit on here. It doesn't really matter where. I'm going to place it right up on top. but I want it to be, you know, relatively centrally located. There we go. And with that, we are ready to launch this again. However, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. This should really be the Mark II. I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here, and next episode, we're going to get this guy up there. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and I'll see you all next time, but I'm going to toss a KER on here before I forget. There we go. See you all next time.